for Tarzan, Friday at 7:30.
This evening on Pulse, deadly impact on the South Shore. 3 lives snuffed out in seconds. And a chilly calling. Destination, Polar Glacier. Good evening. Mitsumi is off. And in the news, a tragic accident on the South Shore this morning. 3 women from New Brunswick were crushed to death in a car crash on Highway 20 near Belay. Joe Singerman was on the scene.
The tragedy occurred at 6 o'clock. 5 women were traveling to Montreal from New Brunswick. Suddenly, this orange tow truck from Quebec City plowed into the rear of the vehicle. Police say the tow truck jumped up onto the blue Pontiac, crushing half of it. 3 young women in the backseat died instantly. Their names have not been released. The driver, a 27-year-old woman from Caraquet, and the passenger, a 36-year-old woman from Pokemouche, are in critical condition.
The car stopped or roll very slowly on the right side of the road, and a tow truck is arrived behind the car, smashed the rear of the car.
After crushing the Pontiac, the out-of-control tow truck hauling this white pump truck then crossed the grass median into oncoming traffic. The truck struck another vehicle carrying ice cream. The 2 occupants in that vehicle sustained minor injuries.
Just after the tragic accident, the Montreal-bound lane of Highway 20 was closed. It's been closed for hours now, and traffic has been backed up for kilometers. Cars are being redirected onto secondary roads. After 9 o'clock this morning, the Quebec City-bound lane on the other side was closed, and traffic there is now backed up for kilometers and is being redirected onto other roads.
Large tow trucks were brought in to remove the wreckage before Highway 20 could be reopened in both directions, and that didn't happen before 11 o'clock. Joe Singerman, Pulse News, Belay.
An unsolved mystery on Mount Royal earlier today has left MUC police this evening without a clue. A short but intensive police operation was launched on the mountain after a woman placed an emergency call to 911 at around 10:30. The caller reported what appeared to be a struggle between a man in his 50s and a very young girl. With several recent horror stories this summer, police weren't taking any chances. Despite a search that lasted several hours, though, police couldn't find any sign that a crime had been committed. At this stage, investigators have no reports of a missing girl in the area. And this afternoon, they received several calls they hope may help explain what happened. Now, there is an old baseball saying that it's not over until it's over. Well, by early tomorrow morning, it's over. The talking has stopped, the sides seem further apart than ever, and at the end of the last game tonight, a players' strike will cut off one of the most exciting Major League seasons in years. It's especially frustrating for the Expos, who are having their best season ever. Even more frustrating for fans all across the continent. How much will they miss the game? Who do they blame? Well, here's today's latest Gallup poll on the baseball dispute. Fans say all sides are striking out with them. 50% say neither owners nor players care about fans. 24% say the players care. 20% say owners. Just 3% say both sides care about the fans. How much would fans miss the games? Well, 49% say not at all. 23% say a little. 10% a great deal. And 18% some. Most fans also feel that the strike will last at least a few weeks. And Ron Roos joins us now. Ron, what's the best guess on how long it really will last?
Well, it's hard to say in union disputes, but the rigidity of the 2 sides would have to indicate to me that the season is over. There's no way that these 2 sides can come together. The players have really dug in their heels. There's absolutely no chance that they're going to accept any form of salary limitation, a salary cap in effect. There is one sign that perhaps the owner's side isn't quite as rigid as the players. There's a report today out of Baltimore. The new owner of the Orioles, Peter Angelo, says that he would like to hold off on the salary cap in return for a no-strike pledge from the union. But that's one small voice in the distance as far as the owners are concerned. I think we're in for a long one. This one could last right into spring training next year.
Well, Ron, if in the worst-case scenario the entire season is wiped out, how will it affect the Expos? Will their season so far be any more than an interesting technicality in the record books?
That's about it. It will, I suppose, as Expos fans, we'll be able to look back on it rather fondly and say, well, we were the best team in baseball, which of course they are, at least in terms of regular season play. But beyond that, nothing really. It'll be a 114-game schedule. There will be some awards given out at the end of the year, perhaps Manager of the Year to Felipe and a couple of other things. But beyond that, no champions, nothing decided if they don't get things going again before the end of September.
What a shame. Thanks a lot, Ron.
This is Brian Britt. Coming up on Pulse, the smell of great cooking in the air at Ile Notre Dame.
Government weather specialists claim public and aviation safety is being put at risk. They blame unreliable forecasting on automation and the contracting out of jobs to inexperienced weather observers. Bill Rogers reports.
When the tornado ripped through this Elmer neighborhood last Thursday, a weather alert wasn't issued until 30 minutes after the event. Environment Canada blames the late alert on equipment damaged by a severe storm in nearby Carp. But the union that represents about 200 weather specialists says the lack of warning is a sad example of how public money is being spent by Environment Canada. It has introduced automated weather observing, but union spokesman Joe Pahalik says forecasters aren't getting good information from the new system, especially when there is severe weather.
So unless you have either a radar system to observe this or you have visual observations, your automated system can't give you that kind of information.
Canadian Airlines International has complained about the automated system, and Gordon McBain of the Atmospheric Environment Service admits there have been some bugs in the system. Bugs, he says, are being worked out.
I think the automated system is something we have worked on very carefully. We have tried it out in many locations, and we feel comfortable that it is providing the type of observations we need for the weather forecasting system.
In a recent report, Canadian Airlines said it had little faith in the automated weather system. In fact, in one instance, it changed alternate airports to avoid the system. Bill Rogers, Ottawa.
And Caroline Van Vlaardingen joins us now from the newsroom with a look at some of the other stories we've been following today. Caroline?
Well, Bill, there may be some problems with warnings, but the Quebec government did announce today that it will provide financial assistance for people whose homes and businesses were hit by the tornadoes and floods that struck us this past month. 2 programs will help 28 municipalities hit by floods and 26 cities where tornadoes touched down. For flood victims, compensation will be available for damage to principal residences and essential furnishings, and relocation expenses will also be covered. Farmers hit by tornadoes, meanwhile, will be compensated under certain conditions. However, homeowners and businesses which carried insurance policies will not be eligible for assistance. And the Quebec Veterinary Association is warning the public not to adopt pets from the SPCA. The association says the SPCA's limited euthanasia policy has created unhygienic conditions and overcrowding at the shelter, and these provide an excellent breeding ground for disease. The association adds the SPCA frequently ignores the advice of its own veterinarians, and there is no way to certify the health of animals put up for adoption. And investigators from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police were playing Robin Hood yesterday. It all started when the RCMP's Trademark and Copyright Unit seized about 2,000 illegal T-shirts from street vendors at the Pink Floyd concert last June. Normally, the seized goods would be destroyed, but when members of Sun Youth heard about the bust, they wrote to the RCMP, who got permission to give away the shirts for free to people on unemployment, income security, and old age pensions. And the Sun Youth people at Sun Youth were so happy with the way that it turned out that they hope that they can do a repeat event in the near future. Bill?
Thank you, Caroline. Now meet Jacques Schroeder. He's a modern Ice Age caveman, and he's about to return to the north. As Herb Luft reports, the Montreal University researcher is off on an international study of the inside of a polar glacier.
For Claude Parody, climbing down from the ceiling of Montreal's biodome was a cinch compared to this. That's Claude, a speleologist, descending a glacial cave in the polar region. His boss, University of Quebec at Montreal geography professor Jacques Schroeder, is planning a similar expedition.
It's not dangerous. It's quite exciting, and it's a marvelous work.
Schroeder leaves Sunday with engineer Roger Gagnon of Sherbrooke for his 6th exploration of a glacier called Hans. It's located midway between Scandinavia and the North Pole on a Norwegian archipelago.
Its name is Svalbard.
Schroeder is a member of an international team including Norwegians, Russians, and Poles, each with different expertise on glaciers. The Montreal professor will study the architecture and evolution of the holes carved by meltwater and try to explain how water is stored in glaciers. Scientists have never been sure about that and hope to solve the puzzle.
It is impossible to create a model, a scientific model to explain the behavior of the water inside the ice body. It's fundamental science in glaciology.
Schroeder's work also coincides with studies in how climates on Earth are evolving.
This glacier is in good response with the change of the climatic condition.
To increase public awareness about glaciers and their role in regulating the planet's climate, the Biodome is giving Montrealers the chance to talk live to Jacques Schroeder during his expedition. Special telephones, maps, and other glacial information will be set up in the Biodome's environment place. From his polar base, the researcher will answer questions from Biodome visitors between 2 and 3 p.m. on 4 Sundays, September 11 and 17, and October 2nd and 16. Schroeder returns to Montreal in 3 months. Herb Luft, Pulse News.
We know about a festival that Montrealers just eat up. The Montreal International Gourmet Festival. It's underway now, and Brian Britt has this report.
The entertainers are direct from Cuba. The food is from everywhere. The delicacies of more than 30 countries available at 75 mini restaurants on Ile Notre Dame. Hungry people come, stroll around, sniff the air, make their choice, and enjoy.
They could just buy a plate for $3 and less than this, and they could taste everywhere, every place.
There are a few free samples, but some plates could go as high as $8. Judging by the empty plate, Constantino Di Tommaso enjoyed his meal.
Very much. I thought the chicken is a good choice. They have a very good brochette.
We found Juliette Forêt and Marcel Lacombe strolling along, about one meal into their gourmet festival.
When you're down here, how many meals would you have?
Oh, about 3 or 4.
3 or 4, yeah.
Yeah.
3 different meals, and then dessert, and then a good beer.
When we left Juliette and Marcel, they were headed off for a smoked meat at Chenoise, where Sam Manicus was preparing a couple of mediums.
People that taste it here, they come back to our restaurant and have some more sandwiches.
While some of the staff members were enjoying a delicacy called patate frite, Chloe was digging into her first choice of the day.
Moi, je mange du riz aux crevettes.
Puis après ça?
Des crêpes.
From shrimps and crepes to...
Here, what's this?
We have alligator sauce piquant.
Alligator?
Yes, alligator.
Do you have a cheese sandwich?
No, try to be adventurous.
Smoked meat to the adventurous. It's all there on Ile Notre Dame until August 21st. Admission $2. Brian Britt, Pulse News.
Here's something we already knew. Politicians are after your votes. They may appear like Santa Claus. More promises on the campaign trail when we return.
Introducing McDonald's California Double, a double cheeseburger California style. With fresh lettuce, a slice of tomato, and chopped onions. Plus a shot of our special California sauce. The California Double, our taste of the month for August.
Based on a true story. Special advance previews this weekend, Saturday, August 13th and Sunday, August 14th. Check newspapers for matinees.
It's Central Audio Video's out the back door sale with prices that are almost a steal. From Toshiba, Cinema Series big screen television sets start at $7.99. This hi-fi stereo video from Toshiba is just $3.99. And this Toshiba 4-head high-quality video recorder is only $2.99. Central Audio Video's out the back door sale is on now until they get caught. 350 Days Arab, Ville St. Pierre, and in the Bazaar Shopping Center, 364-4980.
Are you getting genuine Ortho Shields condoms or not? If it's the cheapest one you've seen, it's not Shields. If it's rainbow pink or green, it's not Shields. If it's as thick as an inner tube or smells like an old gym shoe, if it won't pass 11 tests, 4 more than the government insists, don't pay for something less. Are you getting premium latex extra tested genuine Shields condoms or not? Be sure it's Shields.
What's the best glass cleaner?
Windex.
Windex.
Windex with ammonia D.
There's something better than Windex?
Oh, no way. What is better than Windex? Windex improved? How to improve Windex? Oh, look. Mom, get it. Hear the squeak? Wow. Beautiful. You have improved Windex. You have.
I like it. Windex is my baby, and the baby is better.
Now available in fresh potpourri scent.
Before introducing the new 2-tall can, Molson O'Keefe put it through rigorous testing. It successfully withstood extreme atmospheric conditions. Wind tunnel testing confirmed its remarkable aerodynamic properties. Further testing proved too tall to be quiet, able to support several times its own weight, and get cold in no time. Not only does 2-tall contain twice the volume of a regular can, it pours perfectly, and it remains clearly visible at a distance of 100 meters. The new 2-tall can from Molson O'Keefe. Too good to be true.
Busy day on the campaign trail. The Parti Québécois continues to open its bag of goodies. The Liberals are touring the Mauricie, and another party announced its slate of candidates. With the details, here's Ann Chatilla at the election desk.
Thanks, Bill. Well, what would an election campaign be without all those election promises? There were lots of them today, especially from the Parti Québécois. Everything from Winter Olympics to a Supreme Court for Quebec City. Barry Wilson has been keeping track.
It was all a bit of naughty fun as some Laval University students, decked out in liberal red and white, made Jacques Parizeau an honorary Santa Claus. $8 billion in PQ promises so far, they say. Parizeau got caught a little off guard, but managed to take it all in stride. He came to City Hall to talk about PQ plans for Quebec City. Big plans, he told local officials. A world capital, he promises, with new embassies, people moving in, and buildings going up.
For instance, a Supreme Court will have to be set up here.
But no need to build an official residence for the leader of the new Quebec, says Parizeau. The mansion now occupied by Quebec's Lieutenant Governor would do just fine. Quebec City is hoping to land the Winter Olympic Games in the year 2002. The Canadian government has already pledged more than $200 million. But what if by then Quebec was an independent country? The question is, would Canadian taxpayers be expected to foot the bill for Olympic Games in a foreign country?
And that contract, like any contract, will be fulfilled. I'm sure that in the splitting up of assets and debts, the federal government will quite rightly include this in the calculations and the...
Parizeau says he doesn't know if Quebec's political situation will be a factor in whether Quebec City gets the Games, but he adds it would be a marvelous way to celebrate a new country. Barry Wilson, Pulse News, Quebec City.
Liberal leader Daniel Johnson was in the Mauricie today. He reacted quickly to Jacques Parizeau's promises, said the PQ leader is living in a never-never land of policies.
I really worry about ordinary people getting a house. I worry about people finding decent accommodation. I worry about making sure that people become homeowners rather than tenants. And I'm amazed that Mr. Parizeau would find more time ogling or the Lieutenant Governor's house than worrying about the common man.
Is he or isn't he? That is the question these days. A new poll is out and it shows that 44% of Quebecers don't think the presence of Lucien Bouchard is hurting the electoral campaign of the Parti Québécois. The Léger and Léger survey for the Toronto Globe and Mail shows only 10% of Quebecers think that Bouchard's presence is hurting. 1/3 say it isn't having any impact. Meantime, Mr. Bouchard himself says the PQ wants him to carry on, despite an internal PQ document showing he's not helping the Parizeau campaign. Parizeau insists his campaign is getting a boost from the BQ leader. The Mohawks of Akwesasne say, contrary to what was reported, enumerators are being allowed on their territory. Grand Chief Russell Roundpoint says the fact is they haven't asked. A former Ganawagi band councillor said Tuesday that enumerators were stopped from putting up ballot boxes. Today, Grand Chief Roundpoint said if Quebec asks, enumerators are welcome. But he adds they'd be wasting their time because none of the Mohawks intend to vote. And the Natural Law Party launched its electoral campaign today with more than 90 candidates, establishing itself as the third largest political force here in Quebec. This is the party that promotes developing the consciousness of every individual in this province to help eliminate ill health, violence, unemployment, and homelessness. Leader Alan Fagey says we must be united in the sole purpose of putting an end to negativity by refusing the status quo. The party supports specific programs that would allow Quebecers to tap into the intelligence of nature. And tomorrow, Daniel Johnson and the Liberals head toward Sherbrooke for a day of campaigning in the townships. The PQ bus will tour the Morrissey. And that's it for today from the election desk. Back to you, Bill.
Coming up, can't make it to the Shaw Festival this year? Well, how about the Piggery? It's closer to home and just might be the next best thing.
Ontario and British Columbia will lead all other provinces in economic growth next year, and the Quebec economy will come on strong as well. That is the latest quarterly forecast from the Conference Board of Canada. The board forecasts the Ontario economy will grow next year by 3.7%. The BC economy, 3.6%. The researchers estimate Quebec's growth next year at 3.2%. Now we'll look at the day's markets. Well, researchers at Hotel Dieu Hospital have announced a new drug to fight AIDS, but the announcement was made at an international conference underway in Japan, and here at home it's receiving a lot of criticism. Joe Singerman reports.
This week at the International AIDS Conference in Yokohama, Japan, researchers here at Hotel Dieu Hospital presented this paper. They say they haven't found the cure for AIDS, but they have the best medicine to fight the deadly virus.
But people who are HIV positive, like Jean-Pierre Bellil, are angry.
People living with HIV are ready to try anything because they want to live, but maybe if they were getting less pressure or less false hope or less things that destroyed their state of mind, maybe they could live longer also. It's just like...
This could be putting undue psychological stress on
exactly.
some HIV.
Over at Hotel Dieu, one of the researchers who developed the new AIDS drug says it is significant. The medication made from vegetable extracts mixed with vegetable oil is not toxic. Parvez Gadirian says he and his team have made a significant discovery.
He said that we discovered the best medication existing for the time being to fight against HIV virus. You find the medication is working, you have to tell people that you have it.
But how do you know it's working? You've only used it on 10 people.
Usually everything is started like that.
Researchers say phase 2 of their study will start next month. They'll test their new drug on 300 patients in 4 countries. But even before tests are conclusive, many are placing a lot of hope in their work. According to this HIV positive patient, too much hope. Joe Singerman, Pulse News.
Of course, the desperation that surrounds the disease and makes people vulnerable to even the suggestion of a cure was evident at the international conference which ended in Yokohama today. A market outside the meeting halls boasted products and treatments offering hope and alternatives for those with AIDS. Mark Litke has the story.
This is the most familiar image from the International AIDS Conference. Scientists explaining the complexities of the AIDS virus in a somber auditorium. But this annual gathering has another, less well-known face. Outside the main conference halls, a veritable AIDS marketplace has evolved over the years. It's at these booths where many new ideas and products are introduced. The latest condoms made out of polyurethane. The benefits of massage therapy.
So relaxing.
This is where non-governmental organizations promote their projects, where intercultural experiences are shared, where many fundraising efforts take root. This is also where the AIDS conference shows its human face. A Russian delegate learns from an American AIDS patient. An Italian clown promotes a campaign for children with AIDS. Humor also plays an important role here.
When we laugh, we're more relaxed, and we're more open to talking about anything difficult, including things like sex or drugs or disease.
The one thing that all these booths have in common is a shared belief that as long as there is no cure for AIDS, no idea is too trivial to be discussed if it raises AIDS awareness. But we had to wonder what the Slovenia ecological movement had to offer. It turns out they were here partially to promote their new nation. Look at this, they said. Take away a few letters and see what you get. Love. That's what Slovenia has to offer. Mark Litke, ABC News, Yokohama.
Nadia Biondo was married a year ago, and she's still waiting for her wedding pictures. Seems the photographer disappeared. So Nadia asked Action 12 for help, and Ralph Noseworthy was there.
Nadia Biondo was married in the spring of 1993. She contracted Nick Fazio for a set of wedding pictures. Over the following months, paid him a deposit of over $800. Now, a year later, and still no wedding pictures. She is not happy.
Terrible, upset, frustrated. I can't believe it. It's over a year we're married.
Still no pictures.
Still no pictures.
Nadia says there's a lesson to be learned by all couples preparing their weddings.
Don't go to Nick Fazio. Anything that involves him, don't get out.
And worst, she doesn't know where the elusive photographer Nick Fazio is. She was told he's left town.
Is he still out of town? Where is he?
I have no idea. He hasn't called us.
So you don't know where he is?
No.
Starting with Fazio's last known address on Henri Bourassa Boulevard, Action 12 tried to track him down. Someone was at home but would not answer the door or telephone. We did learn Fazio works as a part-time photographer at the Nazo studio on Lacadie. The owner said he doesn't know where Fazio is. And Fazio has dealings with the Video Classic company located in this building. No one there.
It seems the word did get around. Nick Fazio did call Nadia very early this morning, and he promises to deliver the wedding pictures within 24 hours.
Nadia says she'll believe it when she sees it.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it until I have everything in my hands. Then I'll say, fine, I got everything. Until then...
We'll let you know when she gets her long overdue wedding pictures. On the Action 12 beat, I'm Ralph Noseworthy.
Now, if you're a theater lover and can't get out to the Shaw Festival this summer, Caroline Van Vlaardingen has a suggestion for you that's closer to home.
The Eastern Townships, just an hour and a half outside of the city, the perfect playground for frustrated urban dwellers and Americans to find a good deal. And of course, there are also the farmers and the cows. But did you know that there were also thespians hard at work here?
Meredith, my detective St. Lord bedded you. Look to me.
Thespians and sleuths. In the Piggery Theater's production of Sleuth, Craig Davidson and Richard Clarkin go head-to-head as two men locked in a roller coaster-like battle of wits.
Everything has to be done kosher. I'm just saying, there's a difference between writing and real life.
Chiefly, it's about a man who wants to take revenge on another man because the other fella is trying to steal his wife. And he finds a number of interesting ways of humiliating his opponent, and then his opponent starts surprising him.
Milo Tyndall is from a different walk of life, but he pretty well matches Andrew Wyke, Craig's character, every step of the way. I mean, they're a very good match for each other.
And Davidson and Clarkin are well matched for the roles. Vancouver-born Davidson is a Shaw veteran who trained at the London Academy of Music and Theatre, and Clarkin attended Montreal's National Theatre School.
It's extremely entertaining. There's a lot of laughs in it, there's a lot of humor along the way, there's a lot of theatricality as well. So even if you don't solve it before it's solved for you, it's certainly an exciting thing to watch.
Earlier this summer, Schneiderman also directed the two men in Noel Coward's Private Lives, also at the Piggery. So just how exciting has it been for these urbane men to spend a summer in North Hatley?
It's been great to come home by a lake and to have the fresh air.
I'm sorry, folks, I'm going to boast here. I went swimming before 9 o'clock in the morning for the very first time in my life, and I'm very old. I love it here.
And who could blame them? Sleuth is at the Piggery Theatre in North Hatley until August 20th. Caroline Van Vlortigan, Pulse Entertainment.
And the curtain's not coming down on the nice weather.
Good day tomorrow, then get set for a sticky, humid weekend and some thunderstorms.
Back in a moment.
This is Ron Rouge. Martinez and Alou team up in Pittsburgh. 4-hitter for Pedro, 4 hits for Mo. Expos win 4-0.
The Travel Home Video Library wants to help you plan a unique and memorable holiday this summer. Imagine hiking through the Austrian Alps, or seeing Switzerland by train, or taking a coach tour through England. It's all part of a 3-episode package that's specially priced to help you plan a European getaway with a difference. Call our hotline now at 1-800-567-4381 and simply ask for our European summer getaway. Happy traveling.
It's great, can't wait, come get the taste. Au Vieux de Loup, Au Vieux de Loup.
Au Vieux de Loup is proud to present Summerfest 94. Choose a delectable dish from our special summer menu of grilled specialties, chicken and seafood, and receive a second dish for only 94 cents. That's right, a second dish for only 94 cents. And remember, bring the kids, because they eat for free.
It's great, it's true, you'll love what we do. Au Vieux de Loup, Au Vieux de Loup.
If the beautifully rounded lines of the all-new Monte Carlo seem somehow familiar, they should. After all, we borrowed them from you. The all-new 1995 Monte Carlo, inspired by and built around you, the driver. It's your own personal space, designed from the inside out for a very personal fit. The all-new 1995 Monte Carlo, genuine Chevrolet.
Park Avenue Jewelers is paying top prices in cash for gold, silverware, jewelry, stereos, cameras, TVs, watches, and more. We sell, we buy for cash, and we loan cash. Park Avenue Jewelers, 270-0364.
Now you can make your choices, going your own way. Choose extra. Extra long-lasting flavor. The great taste goes a long, long way. Choose extra. Your choice is up to you. Choose extra. Great taste and sugar-free too. Choose extra. Extra long-lasting flavor, the way that you want it to be. Choose extra. The flavor goes on and on.
Sugar-free extra won't cause cavities, and the flavor lasts extra long.
Do you love Oriental food? Me too, especially when I don't have to go out to get it. With Uncle Ben's sweet and sour sauce, you can stay home and cook up this elegant idea. Spread sautéed onions in a baking dish, arrange chicken on top, add the sweet and sour sauce, and bake. Ah, perfect golden glazed chicken. Dining in just doesn't get any better. Uncle Ben's sauces. Do taste the difference only Uncle Ben's can make. And for more ideas, keep watching.
This is Country 94. Each week, a showcase of Quebec's best country artists, along with the latest videos and interviews with some of country's hottest stars. This is Country 94, Saturday at 6:30.
And so another nice day coming up. We end the week Friday with plenty of sunshine and warmer air, but then get set for an unsettled weekend, especially the second half on Sunday with high humidity readings and some thunderstorms Sunday afternoon. 23 the high today, 2 below the normal reading for today's date, way back to 1944. For the record daytime high, it soared to 35, and cold on this day in 1962, it was 18. Afternoon temps, 22 at St. John's, the same at Charlottetown, 21 at Halifax, the 20 at St. John NB, 21 downriver at Quebec, the same here, the same at Ottawa, a touch cooler, 19 at Toronto, so cool across eastern portion of the country, 25 warmer at Winnipeg, 21 at Regina, 23 at Calgary, 22 at Edmonton, and 23 at Vancouver. Here's our satellite show. Another super day across all of British Columbia. After a gray start, it's now clear in Alberta. There's the cloud across Saskatchewan, now into Manitoba, northwestern Ontario, and the Lakehead, not bad. Cloud into extreme southern Ontario. We've got broken conditions here. It will clear out completely in a few hours. Great day, Gaspé, the North Shore, fine conditions in New Brunswick, PEI, Nova Scotia, and plenty of sunshine today in Newfoundland. Not so for northern New England, from northern Maine through Boston and the Cape into New York. Cloudy conditions there, then broken cloud as far south as the Florida Keys, some showers and thunder showers from Chesapeake Bay right into Miami, and wet weather now well south of the lower lakes. We've got a traffic jam tonight, still that high holding, so dry air tonight. It'll be clear and quite cool. There could be some ground frost downriver at Quebec City. This disturbance well south of us, heading for the coast by this time tomorrow. Here's our map for tomorrow with the high holding, the system going up the coast. So again, tomorrow, wet weather at Boston and New York, but here, sunshine, dry, and certainly a little warmer. We should get up to normal values for tomorrow's date. And here's a look at the first half of the weekend. We've got a wave, the crest well north of Chicago. This warm front rising north. We'll get into the warm sector early Saturday morning. It'll become muggy with the passage of the warm front by the afternoon. That will set off some showers Saturday afternoon after a gray start. Showers Saturday afternoon into Saturday evening. It is the trailing cold front set for Sunday with this dramatic change in air mass. Cooler, dry air behind this line. And this line will set off some thunder showers and could have some heavy thunderstorms Sunday afternoon into Sunday evening. So unsettled conditions, especially all day on Sunday. Our forecast then, it'll be clear and cool tonight, dropping to 10 in town. And tomorrow, sunshine, warmer, will hit 25 or better downtown tomorrow. Then Saturday, increasing cloudiness in the morning, a 40% chance of showers in the afternoon and early evening, high of 26. So it'll be warm first half of the weekend. Overnight low 10, 25, the high tomorrow 6 and 21 up north, so cool there. 6 and 22 at Sherbrooke in the townships, 4 and 22 at Quebec, 9 and 23 for Ottawa. Here's the long-range forecast. Showers and thunderstorms by Sunday afternoon, high humidities, high of 27, and then cooling off 21, fair conditions on Monday. Present temperatures, Dorval, it's 23, 21 at Saint-Jovite and Trois-Rivières. Elsewhere, Quebec is 21, 21 at Chicoutimi, and 15 cool at Baie-Comeau. And the sun will rise tomorrow at 5:51, set at 8:10. The wind southwesterly and light tomorrow. Humidity right now is 49%, and our present temperature 23 Celsius, 74 degrees Fahrenheit. Very pleasant evening coming up. Here's Ron.
And get set for the season swan song for the Expos.
Yeah, they play tonight's game in Pittsburgh, and 3.5 hours after the last pitch, they will touch down at Dorval Airport. The season might be over at that point. The official strike begins after the last pitch of the last West Coast game, somewhere around 2:30 tomorrow morning, our time. For whatever you may think of the strike, a welcome home for the Expos might not be such a bad idea if you're one of those who can stay up till 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. The Expos have been phenomenal. If they win tonight, it would mean 75 victories in only 114 games. Butch Henry will pitch against former Expos left-hander Zane Smith tonight. Last night, the Expos won their 6th in a row, their 74th game of the season, behind the pitching of Pedro Martinez.
The kid is finally getting it right. He pitched into the 9th, allowing 4 hits with 5 strikeouts. And when he was in trouble in the 5th with the bases loaded, he got Gary Varsho to line to Sean Berry, who doubled Van Slyke at 3rd to end the inning. And the 3-run 3rd inning did the rest. First, Grips' home run to left center. That's his 11th of the season. Moises Alou puts it off the wall and left, and that scores Will Cordero to make it 2-0. And to finish the inning, Walker singles up the middle, scoring Moises. 3-0. The icing, Moises again in the 9th inning with a double to the left field corner to score Grissom. 4 for 5 for Mo, and he's hitting .340 now. And the one batter save for Wetland, Jeff King, on a check swing, and goodbye. 6 in a row now for the ball club, 20 of the last 22, and a 7-game lead on the Braves. Atlanta's in Denver, 5th inning, Colorado leading 1-0, and the Rockies get an inning-ending 1-2-3 double play. And then a little Colorado weather. It rained and rained and rained some more. Colorado wins 1-0, game shortened by the weather. Ben McDonald pitched the Orioles to an 8-1 win over the Yankees with a little help from Cal Ripken. The Yankees are 3 games behind the Expos in the loss column for overall Major League supremacy. If there were no strike, it could have been a disaster. The Padres' Andy Benes hits Houston's Jeff Bagwell on the left hand with a pitch. Turned out he broke the 4th metacarpal bone on the same hand that Bagwell broke last September. After striking out his next time at bat, Bagwell left the game.
I couldn't believe it. I said, I didn't think there was any way it was broke. Last year I knew it was broke. I looked at it when I got to Maddie and it was purple. And then it went away. It was okay in the field and I just thought it was bruised. And then I went out there and I tried to swing and I just couldn't do it.
Bagwell was on the cusp of not a triple crown, but a quintuple crown. Look at these stats. 1st in the league in RBIs, in runs and slugging percentage, 2nd in home runs and batting average, and without a doubt, this year's National League MVP. Plays of the day, the Padres' Luis Lopez to Ken Caminiti of the Astros, diving and throwing, and the Astros win the ball game 3-1. Edgar Martinez hitting it to Texas shortstop Manny Lee. He makes a good play. Will Clark is just as good at the other end. The Twins' Pedro Munoz batting with the bases loaded against the Red Sox. Deep to center. Otis Nixon goes over the top to take the grand salami away from Pedro. And this is Lou Whitaker hitting it deep to right center for Detroit. And out of nowhere, Turner Ward of the Brewers slides in there to make the catch. One of the toughest plays in the game, Ricky Henderson battling the sun, really battling the sun for the out. Same game, Joey Cora with the running catch in foul territory. And then the mandatory appreciation from his buddies in the White Sox bullpen. Way to go, Joey. White Sox win 2-1. And a little more editorial comment from the fans. First in Arlington, Texas, and the kids at Yankee Stadium in New York, and in rain-plagued Denver, Colorado, Wrigley Field in Chicago. But the sign of the night in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where the Eagles are getting ready to start their season. The semi-fond farewell will be tonight.
And are the cracks beginning to show in the resolve of the owner's side in the baseball dispute? The new owner of the Baltimore Orioles, Peter Angelos, wants baseball management to hold off on the salary cap in return for a no-strike pledge from the union so that accounting firms can check the club's books to verify the validity of claims of financial distress. Meanwhile, George Steinbrenner of the Yankees says he doesn't buy into the competitive balance theory used to justify the salary cap proposal. No such lack of solidarity yet on the players' side, but all is not lost yet. Sports fans, we still have the Roadrunners, who will be, in a week, entering their first playoff season. Last night, they beat St. Louis 10-6 at the Forum to clinch their playoff spot. Alan Bishop covered the game for Pulse and spotted a familiar face in the opposition lineup, former Canadian Perry Turnbull. He caught up with Perry after the game.
In a league that is lacking big-name stars, Perry Turnbull of the St. Louis Vipers stands out because of his name alone. 9 seasons in the National Hockey League will do that for you. After he was approached to be an investor in the club last season, the transition to player was easy.
After I said I would get involved with the team on one side, then I drank a couple of beers and said, oh, I might even play.
Turnbull spent a brief 40 games with the Canadiens in the mid-'80s, splitting most of his NHL career between the Blues and Jets. He may have been just an average NHLer, but that still makes him an above-average roller hockey player.
He's never out of place out there. He's a competitor. He comes to play every night. He's a great leader in the locker room. The guys respect him because, you know, he's been at the big-time level before, and he's a good guy to have in the locker room.
Last night, Turnbull managed to score on a good individual effort to pull his team to within 2 goals early in the second quarter, but he was shut down the rest of the night, giving him 15 goals and 25 points in just 10 games of an injury-plagued season. Pretty good totals for a 35-year-old who has been through the type of NHL wars that most of his teammates will never experience.
It takes a few pounds off that I put on during the winter, so it's you know, I like to compete, and it doesn't matter what it is, and this is hockey, so I'm here to play.
Alan Bishop, Pulse Sports.
For the next 4 days, the Beaconsfield Yacht Club will be hosting the Canadian Youth Championships. It's the 26th annual event, and over the years it has showcased some of the country's top young competitors. Randy Tiemann has that story.
270 kids 18 and under from one end of the country to the other are competing in 5 different categories.
Well, we hope to do well, but you know, there's a lot of competition.
Yeah,
it's hard.
Just being here is a thrill, yeah.
The regatta has always been a stepping stone for some of Canada's top international competitors. The likes of Terry McLaughlin, Hank Lemons, and world champions Karen and Gail Johnson all competed in this event.
Just a good learning experience. Seriously, they're provincial teams from all over Canada. So if we could just place, I don't know, mid-fleet would be really good.
What would that be? What position?
I don't know.
20th.
20th?
Yeah.
Quebecers have dominated the sailboard events since they were introduced in 1984. Since the women were added in 1988, every champion has come from Quebec. Yet a growing number of kids are more interested in laser sailing.
It's an affordable boat for a kid and easy to handle. And it comes in like 3 different rig sizes, so if you're light, you can use a smaller sail. It was sort of dying out a little bit, but now, because it's an Olympic class boat, there's more and more laser sailing.
The individual champions from this event will represent Canada at the World Championships in Bermuda next year. Randy Tiemann, Pulse Sports.
This is the week of the PGA golf tournament being played this year at the Southern Hills Country Club in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Last report we had, Colin Montgomery held the clubhouse lead after a first round 3 under par. Ian Woosnam is on the course at 2 under right now. Tom Watson and Fuzzy Zeller also in the clubhouse at 1 under, 2 strokes back. Nick Price was 1 under through 7 holes. The PGA tournament is always held in mid-August, and our weekly historical segment highlights the greatest golfer in the history of this tournament.
This Day in Sports is brought to you by Cheerios.
It was 21 years ago tomorrow, August 12, 1973. Jack Nicklaus reached a milestone in a career filled with milestones. Playing at the Canterbury Club in Cleveland, Nicklaus beat Bruce Crampton by 4 strokes to win the PGA Championship. It was Nicklaus's 14th major title, breaking the mark established by Bobby Jones. It was also his 3rd PGA. 1 year later, August 11, 1974, Nicklaus was in the hunt for his 4th PGA title. He battled playing partner Lee Trevino right down to the final hole before Trevino won his first PGA title ever by a single stroke over Nicklaus. In 1975, Jack was back. August 10th, Nicklaus completed his greatest year. He had won the Masters and just missed victories in the U.S. and British Opens. He capped his year with another victory over Crampton at the PGA in Akron. It was his 16th major title, a record total he would expand as the years flew by. 3 mid-August days in the 70s, when the Golden Bear dominated the headlines.
It has only 1 gram of sugar and the great taste your family loves.
On the brink of war. The situation in the demilitarized zone is deteriorating rapidly. With nowhere else to turn. Put down your weapons. Shoot them! As ally becomes enemy. We're in a war here, and I intend to win it. You'll have to get through me first. Sometimes the only solution... Will you help me stop the Maquis? You have a deal. ...is to join the other side on the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Friday at 8 on CFCF 12.
Variety is the spice of life, and Cameo has variety.
Many different sizes and shapes, whether 2- or 3-piece sectionals or small love seats to spacious queens, all available with or without a bed in a large selection of tasteful fabrics of your choice. Cameo manufactures and sells direct and can offer very competitive prices. With a solid reputation for comfort and quality, Cameos are available both ways, with or without beds. Cameo, sofas and sleep sofas.
Welcome to Buffet Maison Curin, the newest and most unique Chinese buffet in Montreal. You've never seen anything like it. You've never tasted anything like it. Help yourself to this incredible array of mouth-watering delicacies. All dishes are cooked in a non-cholesterol oil, and there's an MSG-free table. Sample a mini steak or brochette prepared on our open grill. Leave room for Curin's fabulous desserts. Buffet Maison Curin is more than lunch or dinner. It's an experience. 515 Curie Laval in Chamonix.
This is the Mazda 626 Kronos, a great family car.
It appears to be going backwards.
That's because the price is going backwards.
Incredible. 18, 17, 16,000?
Just $15,995. Compare that to the Camry or Accord. Here's the Mazda Protege.
13, 12, 11?
Just $11,595. Compare that to the Civic or Corolla.
Backwards pricing. I love it.
Hurry to your Mazda dealer now for the Mazda 94 Clear Out.
Some backward thinking that could save you a bundle.
The United Nations tonight has its collective eye on a 20-kilometer weapons exclusion zone around Sarajevo. Both government troops and Bosnian Serb forces stand warned that NATO airstrikes could be called in if violations of that zone continue. They are. Tonight, up to 3,000 Bosnian troops are reported to have moved into the area just north of the capital. They're apparently seeking control of a strategic road that could serve as an access route into Sarajevo.
It's a virtual return to siege conditions in the Bosnian capital. Serb troops remain entrenched in the hills around Sarajevo. With increasing frequency, they fire at Muslim targets. The fighting now spilling over into the UN's heavy weapons exclusion zone.
I think generally people are interested in a peaceful resolution of this problem. The trouble is that this sort of tactical level tension that's being created at the moment all round is not helping the cause of peace.
With the threat of a major offensive looming, General Rose met the Bosnian vice president. They agreed to call for the total demilitarization of Sarajevo to restore complete freedom of movement in and out of the city.
And we discussed the technical aspects of that, and we agree 100% how to do it. So General Rose has a full support from our side to proceed.
Civilians and 2 UN planes were targeted in the latest outbreak of gunfire. The sniping killed an 11-year-old girl who'd been walking through one of Sarajevo's most dangerous intersections. Residents watched, frustrated by yet another senseless killing, feeling helpless to stop their city returning to a war footing.
Police in Germany are investigating yet another case of neo-Nazi violence, this time the target a mosque used by Turkish immigrants.
The latest target of racial violence in Germany was this mosque in Singen near the Swiss border. Police are investigating whether neo-Nazis or Kurds were behind the second anti-Turkish attack this week. 300 people used to pray here 5 times a day. A fireman was injured in the blaze, which was started around 3 o'clock in the morning. The long, hot summer has seen an upsurge in violence. At least 20 Turkish businesses and community centers have been firebombed. 2 days before the Singen blaze, a Turkish club was gutted in a similar attack in Sindelfingen near Stuttgart. No one was hurt, but the building was gutted. Turkish immigrants are worried. With the 7th anniversary of the death of Hitler's deputy Rudolf Hess this weekend, police fear there could be more violence.
Hundreds of U.S. soldiers have arrived in a national park in Idaho to battle wildfires that have already raged through 9 western states. Brian Rooney has the latest.
On some days, the fires in the Payette National Forest have traveled as fast as a mile in 1 hour, jumping through the tops of trees. In firefighting, that's what's known as crowning, and firefighters don't like to get in front of a fire that can burn over their heads and get behind them.
It torches trees, and that in turn lights other trees further downwind, and it torches them. It's sort of a leapfrog effect.
So the fire is moving north uninhibited, as firefighters can only try to keep it away from populated areas. There's a lot to burn in these hills, where in some areas half the spruce trees have been killed by drought and bug infestations.
Much of this fire is in the backcountry with poor access, and we simply cannot put people at risk.
Fire assessment teams estimate that in the worst possible case, a quarter of this 2.5 million acre forest could be affected. It's just the beginning of the fire season here, but already comparisons are being made between this fire and the 1988 fire that burned 1 million acres in Yellowstone National Park and was stopped only by snowfall. Brian Rooney, ABC News, McCall, Idaho.
Fires are also devastating parts of Spain and Italy, driving people from their homes and destroying a large chunk of the tourist season.
Where day turns dramatically to night, Spain's experiencing the worst of the fires which have taken grip in southern Europe. The smoke billowing behind Barcelona can be seen 30 miles away, and the flames are ravaging the landscape. Well over 500,000 acres of land have been burnt this summer. 22 people have died in the ensuing panic. In some areas, residents had to leave in a hurry, many realizing it could be the last time they see their homes. High winds meant rescuers had to complete their evacuation work urgently, but the Spanish aren't the only ones suffering. Several fires have broken out on the Mediterranean island of Corsica off the French Riviera. Now is the peak of Corsica's holiday season, and some tourists found themselves stranded by the flames. Others took to their cars to escape. The roads, however, were sometimes the most dangerous places to be. On the neighboring island of Sardinia, local farmers tried their best to douse fires threatening their land with tank loads of water. Many Italians fear a repeat of last year's devastation.
There's still no indication tonight as to whether the U.S. will grant asylum to those 26 Cubans who fled their homeland in a stolen government boat. 25 of the 26 have been released from custody at Key West, Florida, after undergoing several days of questioning by immigration officials. The U.S. has a problem. It's trying to decide whether the Cubans are defectors or criminals. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
What selection awaits you at our buffet? At le buffet chinois, mandarin, le mandarin.
Fill your plate again and again with traditional Chinese fare, our famous seafood, mouth-watering brochettes, and much more. Le Mandarin, the consumer's choice for the 4th year in a row.
Buffet chinois, mandarin, le mandarin, more than just a buffet.
If you choose a long-distance card from one of the discounters, you may have a lot more buttons to worry about every time you make a call. Bell Calling Card Service. No other card is as simple to use.
Bruce Willis's new film, Color of Night, is said to be so erotic
that the steamiest scenes ended up on the cutting room floor. You won't see them in the theaters, but you will see them on Entertainment Tonight. Plus, TV Guide calls it the Billion Viewer Beat Show. Now see what it's like to work on the hottest series in the world.
The toughest part about being on Baywatch is putting on the oil right here.
I actually am going to go out and have a little nookie. Stay tuned.
See it all on the next Entertainment Tonight.
Entertainment Tonight at 7, following Pulse.
Whatever your questions about love, money, lost objects, or lucky numbers, JoJo's Psychic Alliance can give you the answers you want right now.
You got some numbers from JoJo's book, and then what did you do?
I went out and bought myself a lotto ticket, and I won.
You won?
Yes, with her special numbers that were in it. This is the book.
Now you say you won, and I got to ask you, and I presume $20,000, $30,000?
No, $100,000.
$100,000!
Don't forget to ask for JoJo's 1994 Love Horoscope. It's a very special guide to the planets and the stars. And it's yours, just for talking with one of her psychics.
I offer you ancient wisdom, plus love, plus compassion, and most of all, personalized predictions in love, health.
With Dan Rather and Connie Chung.
Good evening. Connie is off tonight. The National Rifle Association and Republicans won a big one this evening on Capitol Hill. President Clinton and the Democrats lost big. In a showdown vote, the House of Representatives refused to pass the new anti-crime bill. Assault weapons were the key.